Many people claim that Our Lady of the Cape healed and protected them in countless ways.
Obviously, 2 months after Father Desile's death, wonders kept happening for 2 years.
Yes, wonders. Because you can't say miracle without a decree from the Pope himself to go from a prodigy to a miracle. And even then, they were more like favors than prodigies.
Nonetheless, children have been healed.
In 1890, a detailed report noted the miraculous healing of an incurable cancerous tumor.
Something else happened that year. A little girl from the Cape, she'd hit her finger with an axe, and the finger was hanging from the hand by a small piece of flesh.
And so, without listening to doctors and specialists, her parents made a bandage with holy rose petals.
And believe it or not, the finger healed without a trace of the injury. Nothing.
As well, in 1893.
Oh, yes, Joseph Lefebvre.
Exactly. Joseph, who believed that Our Lady of the Cape had protected all his buildings during the Great Fire that swept through Sainte-Geneviève de Batiscan. A fire that threatened the whole village, all of it.
Let's not forget that in 1895, a little girl from Beauport was cured of her flictenular keratitis during a pilgrimage.
Huh?
It's a kind of conjunctivitis.
Oh, yeah, she was suffering from that for 2 years, an illness that might make her go blind.
That young lady was the first to file a record of evidence with ecclesiastical authorities.
Exactly according to the model used for the people who were miraculously healed in Lourdes.
But on a lighter scale.
Speaking of lightness, 2 Goliaths fell off.
Oh, yes, the 2 sturdy fellows who were working on the bell tower that was to be inaugurated 2 days later. They fell from a height of 25 to 30 feet. That's 7 to 9 meters. The noise caught the attention of Father Frédéric, who came to see what had happened.
He found them laughing and chatting with the other workers.
The 2 Goliaths were convinced that Our Lady of the Cape had protected them. So they went back up the steeple to work as though nothing had happened.
Whether it can be promises of pilgrimage or requests of intercessions,
Those are prayers for others,
whether it can be use of relics, the holy crib, or holy roses,
or even the oil that burned in front of Mary's statue.
people do so because they believe in it.
And then, beginning in 1892, the monthly magazine, The Annals of Our Lady of the Cape, has related many other examples.
The oldest magazine still published today.
And there's tangible proof of all this.
Indeed, the ex votos, which means according to the vow.
And I learned that this was an object placed in a venerated location.
It's an offering to God following a request for grace or to thank Him for a wish that He granted.
And it can take many forms. Sacred Hearts, the Hand of Mary, a dove.
And there are many ex votos at the shrine.
In fact, as in all shrines around the world.
But in Quebec, from the 17th to the 19th century, they came in the form of paintings.
Beginning in the 19th century, they all came in the shape of a devotional heart.
There are also marble plaques on which the favor of the grace obtained is inscribed.
Plenty of those can be seen in the small shrine.
But now, Grandma, we know that.
You're going to ask, what about the crutches?
Yes, indeed. Crutches were left as ex votos, and more than one.
After the healings or following requests for grace, people left their crutches behind as thanks for favors received.
Or else people just didn't want to bring them back.
And in your youth, there was a wall of crutches at the shrine.
And as Grandpa used to tell you, that was quite the supporting wall.
But they demolished it in 1970.
When I asked the rector why, he told me that he didn't want to play the sensationalist card.
However, a few crutches are still on display in the museum.
Oh, speaking of healing bum legs, I was going to forget.
Oh, yes, that's right. You told me you wanted to talk about that, about 2 cases in particular.
That's right. First, there was Isabelle No, who was born in 1923 and died in 1993. Once upon a time, but a real time, a true and verifiable time. In 1938, in Port-Neuf, a teen girl named Isabelle No had a nasty fall. from a steep stepladder. The young lady was disabled as a result. She had started her juniored with the Sisters of Charity, those in Saint Louis de Pont-Rouge, but she was unable to continue because of the accident. 10 years later, on August 15th, 1948, she went on her annual pilgrimage to the Cap de la Madeleine Shrine. Following that pilgrimage, Isabelle started walking again on her own. She cried out to her mother from her room, "Mom, I can walk!" The whole family believed in the miracle, as did the entire local population, and then everybody in the province for that matter, who learned about it through the newspapers. However, the church didn't recognize the miracle due to the lack of a medical record, which would have recognized her condition before she was, let's say, miraculously healed.
Hey, Grandma has a book about her. It was published sometime around 2011. It's called Isabelle No, Miraculously Healed by Our Lady of the Cape.
That's right. But wait till you hear about the second one.
Who was it?
Claudette La Rochelle.
Hey, isn't that Grandma's friend?
Yes, indeed.
From what I recall, once upon a time, another real time, another true and verifiable time. It happened during the Assumption in 1969. Claudette was 29 years old and she had muscular dystrophy. Everyone said that this was a death sentence and moreover, that it was impending. But one evening, on August 15th, just before the 10 p.m. Mass, Claudette got up from the chair where she was sitting into which she was strapped and then walked to the small shrine's balustrade. Hundreds of people witnessed the scene. Needless to say that it made headlines. She went back to Rouen, where she became a teacher. And despite a distance of more than 750 kilometers, Claudette came back every year for many years to lend a hand during the novena. She even wore the cloak of the Order of Malta. And amazingly, she even rode her bike from Ottawa to Cap de la Madeleine, a distance of over 325 kilometers, to come to the shrine. Let's remember that she had muscular dystrophy. If that's not miraculous, then it's a legend at least.
She even made detours on her bike to visit Grandma.
Ooh, Grandma. Pull out a picture of her to put in the scrapbook. I want to see that.
Now, we're going to head all the way down to the river.